You know, when a big company goes under, the headlines tell one story. But the real story, the final, unchangeable one, that's not in a press release. It's buried in a court docket. So today, we're not telling a story of ambition and failure. We're conducting a forensic audit of a legal ending. Let's open up case file 24-11390, the end of Fisker Inc.
So, the official name on the docket is Fisker Inc. et al. Now, it's easy to just skim past those two little words at the end, et al. It's Latin, stands for and others. But trust me, in a bankruptcy filing, those two words are everything. They are the key to understanding just how big this thing really is.
So right away, you have to ask, who are the others? What does et al. Actually represent here? Well, it's a huge clue. It tells us this wasn't just one car company collapsing. No, this was an entire network of connected companies, a whole legal structure, all going down at the same time.
Okay, that brings us to our first section. To really get this case, we have to define the debtors. We need to identify every single entity that's officially part of this filing.
And here they are. It is so much more than just Fisker Inc. The petition pulls in Fisker Group Inc., Fisker TN LLC, Terra Energy Inc., Blue Current Holding LLC, and Platinum IPR LLC. Each one has its own case number. You see, this isn't one domino falling. This is a complex legal architecture being systematically taken apart piece by piece.
Now, for the sake of, efficiency, the court doesn't treat these as 6 totally separate things. While you have all these individual filings, they're all jointly administered under one main case number, 24-11390. That's the one for Fisker Inc. itself. It's just a practical way to manage a very complicated collapse.
All right, section 2. Here, we're going to dissect the anatomy of this liquidation. This is where we break down the legal terms and the exact process that spells out how a massive company officially stops existing.
First things first, Chapter 11. Now, most of us hear Chapter 11 and we think reorganization, right? A company trying to get back on its feet. But that's only half the story. Chapter 11 can also be used for a court-supervised shutdown. And that is exactly what's happening here. This is not a comeback story. It is a plan of liquidation. The only goal is to sell off every last asset.
So, when did this all officially kick off? Well, the starting gun for this entire process was fired on June 17, 2024. That's the day the company and all its related entities filed what are called voluntary petitions for relief. That's the formal legal way of raising your hand and saying, we can't go on, we need the court's protection and supervision to end this. Now, this next part is absolutely crucial. It's a concept called the bar date. This is a deadline with teeth. If you are a creditor, and that could be anyone from a huge parts supplier to a customer waiting on a refund, if you don't file your official claim by this date, you are legally barred from ever collecting a dime. You get nothing. It is a hard, non-negotiable cutoff. And that brings us to the real heart of it, the calendar of collapse. You see, a corporate bankruptcy isn't total chaos. It's actually a highly structured process driven by dates set by the court. This timeline, this is the official story of the company's final months. So let's just walk through it. It all starts June 17th with that petition. Next, a critical date, September 11th. That was the general bar date, the deadline for most creditors we just talked about. Then by October 17th, the liquidation plan goes into effect. The roadmap for selling everything is now locked in. And finally, on December 16th, you have the government bar date for any government agencies to file their claims. See? It's a methodical shutdown. And if you want to know just how straightforward this ending is, look at this. This is a list of scheduled court hearings. June, July, then a whole slate planned for 2025 and 2026, and every single one of them canceled. So why? It strongly suggests there's not much to fight about. The assets are what they are, the debts are what they are, and the whole thing is just proceeding without any major legal drama. This isn't a fight, it's a procedure.
Okay, so as we start to wrap this up, let's pull back for our final section, the public record. What does all this cold, procedural paperwork actually mean? What story does it tell when everything else is said and done?
And I love this. Even the official record keepers give you a dose of cold reality. This is a disclaimer from Verita, the claims agent managing the documents. They literally state they don't guarantee that any of this data is accurate, complete, or even up to date. It's a pretty stark reminder that even in the final accounting, everything comes with an asterisk.
But at the end of the day, even with that disclaimer, this is it. This docket, this is the unvarnished truth.
It's what's left when all the hype, the ambitious press releases, the wild stock valuations, when all that noise has faded away. The court filings are what remain. They are the company's cold, hard, procedural epitaph.
And the amazing thing is, none of this is a secret. It's all out in the open. United States Bankruptcy Court, District of Delaware, case number 24-11390. You can go look it up for yourself. It's the final searchable record of what happened. And it really leaves you with a final thought. Maybe when you strip everything else away, a company's true story isn't found in how it launched, but in the clinical details of how it was liquidated.